and the smoke and the noise of the engine like this race is gonna be rough. You might say that it was taking it cool when Petty was trying to pass. Oh, but don't you wager that he shows speed when he holds down on the gas. Now the race is on and here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second, 'cause 52 just passed. One day Earl ventured out to race, never once suspecting what the final result would be. Picking up a second prize for himself and even beating his friend Marty. There's an ache and a pain in his feet for a while, and his pit crew's the best in the race. Petty came out the winner, Earl came out in second place. And the race is on and here comes Earl up the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second, 'cause 52 just passed. Now the race is on and here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside.
My name's Rick Lennox. I'm Harvey Lennox's son. This is my cousin Steve, race fan from way back, obviously big family member. We've got a bunch of display here. We have photographs and trophies way back from the 50s right through the 70s when Dad stopped racing. Got his helmet, some trophies, fire suit. We actually have Tammy 10 wallpaper here, some of the old wallpaper that you'd buy at Sunworthy back in the 60s. We actually have a roll of the wallpaper here. And left front tire off of Tammy 10 there, and just lots of things for the people to see.
Right on.
A roll of it here. And these are the two photographs that wallpaper was taken from. This was opening night at Flamborough Speedway in 1962, and that's Dad in full color here. The car in the background that's black and white is actually Gordon Johncock. His car was red and white, and he went on and won the Indy 500 twice.
Oh, no way.
And Dad's
Cool.
in color, and he's in black and white.
Right on. So did you go on to race yourself at all?
I did just for a few years, not nearly as long or nearly as successful as my dad.
Okay.
This was my car back in Delaware in the 70s,
Okay.
and I ran from 74 to 77.
All right.
And then it was when I discovered racing's a rich man's sport, and I'm not a rich man.
Right on. Thank you.
Earl ventured out to race, never once suspecting what the final result would be. Picking up a second prize for himself and even beating his friend Marty. There's an ache and a pain in his feet for a while, and his pit crew's the best in the race. Petty came out the winner, Earl came out in second place. And the race is on and here comes Earl up the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second, 'cause 52 just passed. Now the race is on and here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second.
In 1966, the three local tracks, Nilestown, Delaware, and Flamborough, put up a point fund between the three, and Bill Daniels Motors put up the pace car, and they were so kind as to award the pace car to the winner of the championship that year. And Dad won both Delaware and Nilestown, and was second at Flamborough, so he won the overall championship. And that was the pace car that he won.
Oh, that's cool. Very
I was only 14 when he won that. And it had a 289 with a 3 on the tree on it. And he sold it before he turned 16 because they thought he might get in trouble and bought me a 61 Volkswagen Beetle instead.
Ah, very cool. Thank you.
I've been around racing since day one because my dad was the original announcer at Elsie Craig, Delaware, Nilestown, and owned St. Thomas Speedway.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Like the drag strip?
No.
No?
The stock car track.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we used to go there on a holiday weekend. You'd hit 5 tracks, and I wasn't old enough to be down in the pits, but there was no radio system, so my job was to run the lineup
Ah,
up
that's
and down the grandstand.
oh, very good, very good.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is quite a setup you have here. How many years did it take you to accumulate all this stuff?
Well, 30 at least.
30 at least.
Yeah.
Wow, you've got a lot of memorabilia.
That's my very first race car right there. Picture, the die cast.
Over here. Right on. Number 88, that was your
Yeah.
number?
Yeah.
Right on. So I see a lot of Coca-Cola stuff. You're a big Coca-Cola?
Yeah. Pepsi's back in the corner.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah.
Old jukebox there. Does that work?
No, actually, it's a cassette player.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Neat.
And then there's an 8-track.
The old 8 tracks, oh yeah.
Yeah. It works, but I got no speakers hooked up to it.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is some of Earl's first cars. That's the NASCAR one. And then that's Pinecrest. These are all feature front of programs back then. And around here we have a picture of Earl and the crew with President
I'm just a race fan. When I discovered about Earl Ross somewhere in the 90s, I think at a cast car race, I became an Earl Ross fan. And that's how I got the autographs. I bought the ticket stubs online in 1995, maybe. And those are the ticket stubs from the race Earl won in Martinsville.
Right on. All right, thanks. Where are you from, Bill?
Orangeville.
Orangeville. All right. Thank you.
But drove in from Brockville last night.
Nice. All right.
Through the night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Ken Gross from Bad Daddy Customs, one of the official sponsors of the memorial. Just getting to meet everybody. I'm not too familiar with a whole lot of people. I'm quite a bit younger.
Right on. Right on.
Just getting acquainted.
All right. Your name?
Rob Watson.
Oh, Rob.
I was with Champion Sparkplug back in the early days and involved with an awful lot of racing. Anything that had an engine, they found to them. We'd usually be there to watch them race.
Okay.
More recently, got involved with Kenny and wrote a book about the NASCAR team. So that's what we're here.
Oh, is that right? And that's this book right here?
That's the book. Yep.
Very cool.
And it's available now.
All right.
Tells the whole story, or at least what Ken would tell me. So.
Yeah. Right on. And you're looking very good in your outfit there. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Deanna McKeegan. I'm Kenny McKeegan's wife.
Okay.
Who was the crew chief for Earl. My brother's Billy Daniels.
Okay.
So I come from a long line of racers.
All right. Right
My
on.
dad raced, my mom raced, my brother raced, my husband raced. Here I
Right
am.
into the racing. All right. Thanks. Petty Avenue. Okay, so you have a great story, I hear. Let's hear it.
Well, it was a story back when we were kids down at Delaware Speedway. Ross Sedell's car, which is parked out front here, was coming around turn 3-4 and lost the right front. Well, the right front bounced over the little catch fence and started coming up the hill. And I was sitting right there, and this young fella, back when you could still park your car at the edge of the hill at Delaware, had this really fancy street car there. And that tire was coming right for his street car. And he stood there like this and took that tire right in the chest, and it took him right up over his car.
Get out!
Yeah, we never did find out what happened to him because everybody rushed over there and we couldn't get to him. But yeah, that was Ross Sedell's story that I remember from 50 years ago, maybe. I don't know how long ago, but it was a long time ago.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you and your name again?
Oh, it's Wayne Thornton.
Wayne Thornton.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Wayne.
Okay.
Okay, bye now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's that again?
I like that. I like that introduction.
Okay, so say it again. I wasn't videoing.
I'll say it again.
Okay.
This is Liz, Earl Ross's middle daughter, and she's a troublemaker.
Okay.
And this is Lisa, the youngest daughter, who's very bossy.
It's true.
Tell me some stuff about your dad. Tell me.
Oh, my dad was very much a family man.
Yes.
He was all about his family. He loved to race and play golf.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
Yes.
he liked to watch them both on TV, and there is nothing more boring than
Golf.
just when the race is getting good, he switched to golf.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you guys would have went to the track a lot, I take it?
Yeah.
We grew up there.
Grew up at the track.
We learned redneck at the racetrack.
Did you guys race at all yourselves?
No.
Never did, eh?
We were cast car officials for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about your kids or anything? You guys have kids? Did they get into it?
Yes, but none of them raced.
None of them raced?
No.
And we're spread.
My
We have
son
another
likes to go fast, but usually where he shouldn't.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
There's
awesome.
a bunch of lead feet.
This is my daughter, Catherine.
Okay, hi.
Yep.
So this is a granddaughter to Earl Ross,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, hi.
Yep.
Hi.
And her daughter Ellie.
Hi, how you doing?
Granddaughter Ellie.
And this is my daughter Ellie, which is Earl's great-granddaughter.
Great
Can you
daughter.
say hi, Ellie? She's shy.
Well, this is a pretty cool event, don't you think?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Built in a lot.
Today, tell me about yourselves, guys.
Jock's daughter.
Okay,
We're both pretty excited to be here, to be invited to participate in this.
Okay.
And, I think we're both proud and happy to help, present this exhibit of my dad, his uncle, Jack Monahan.
Jack Monahan. Okay, so
This is my dad, Ken Johnson.
okay,
He raced at Delaware and NASCAR in the 80s.
okay.
Actually, Delaware in the 70s as well. He is known actually as the first NASCAR champion in 1986.
Okay.
Trophies right here. Yeah, it's won a few races. Known as a very gentlemanly driver.
Now, did you race yourself at all? No, you never did.
Can't
eh?
afford it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem.
fundraiser for the Elsa Craig Museum. Let me give you a little background on what's going on here today. Bill Daniels happened to go into the Elsie Craig Museum, and lo and behold, nowhere in the museum was there anything about Elsie Craig's most famous citizen, Earl Ross. Nowhere. So Bill decided, hey, we're going to do something about this. And did he do something about this? Look around here. Isn't this amazing? I didn't realize how much stuff people have kept over the years. Like I'm looking over here at Copperhead, for crying out loud. Copperhead hasn't raced in 60 years. And there's all the memorabilia there, the McCutcheon car, Earl Ross. Look at this, they got their whole village over here that they got laid out. And I'm told some of the stuff may have even been damaged in a flood. Bill Daniels has got his stuff here, but Bill's done an amazing job putting this thing together, and all the old guys are here. My son said to me, I don't want to go to an event where all the 100-year-old racers are standing around. I thought, well, I could go around this room and tell stories. I see guys I can tell stories on all the way around this room, but I'm not going to do that. First thing I want to do is, apparently, John Stenova. Is John Stenova in the house?
Trying to hustle your wife.
Apparently John Stenova has something to do up here on the stage with something. Is it a silent auction or what is it, John? I'm going to turn the mic over to you. In case anybody doesn't know, John Stenova knows everybody in the world. He can walk into a bar in Amarillo, Texas and say, how you doing, Bob? Haven't seen you in a while. John, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you do your thing here.
Folks, unfortunately, I won't be able to be here for the auction, but there is a piece of man cave garage art enclosed in this package here. It's a one-of, and it'll be the first item in the auction. And it's from a Motorsports Hall of Fame member. And with it, there's a picture of a Mustang here. And a dear friend of mine that passed away 3 years ago, down in Dayton, Ohio, Gail Halderman designed the Ford Mustang. How many people in this room own a Mustang or raced one over the years? Well, this gentleman here, Gail Halderman, designed the Ford Mustang, became the youngest designer in the world at the age of 36, continued as a Ford employee to his death. Few people in this room have been down to his place. The consummate gentleman. This is an autographed Poe picture that goes with this invaluable piece of wall art. So keep that in mind when the auction starts. Something very special in here from a guy that has done everything in racing, probably a lot of things and other things he shouldn't have done, but anyway, we won't go there because that might identify him. But anyway, remember, when you start to bid, this is priceless. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Now, I got to say, before I bring some guest speakers up here, I look around this room and I see 10,000 feature wins on stock car tracks, okay? I see about 500 track championships, race series championships, but what I see is about $1 billion spent on race cars in this group in here. And the interesting part is, of that $1 billion, probably about a quarter went to a guy who's not here today, Edward James Hanley Jr. from Oakville, Ontario. Junior couldn't make it. He's feeling a little down in the dumps right now, but I bugged him all week, and Rita kept saying she's going to work on him, but we couldn't get him. So, as far as I know, he's not coming. Anyway, come on up here. Bill Daniels, come on down. Paging Bill Daniels. He's on his break. You've been on that all your life, Daniels. Come on. Yeah, in the old days, you would have jumped up. So would we, Kenny. That ship has sailed, unfortunately.
On behalf of Ken and I and Stan, I would like to present Bill with a little gift for putting this on and all the work he has done. It's just a little token of thanks.
picture of him before he crashed his car.
Not this Mathers.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, that's great, Bill. Do you want to say a few words, Bill? No, you don't? I'm sure the guy beside you is going to say a few words.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great job. Ken McKeegan, never met a microphone he didn't like.
Can I hit you with it? Thank you all for coming. This is tremendous. I said to Bill, we really need name tags because a bunch of you people got old, and I don't know how that happened. Not me. Johnny asked me to tell a couple of stories. Well, we could be here for about 2 weeks telling stories between Stan and I. So when this whole deal went together, and by the way, there's a book back there we just finally got out today. It's got the whole thing from start to finish. But when this thing went together, the long story, when I got hooked up with Carlins, he said to me, okay, he said, who's the driver? And the other guy and I had been discussing back and forth, and he looked like he was going to win the argument. But then we parted ways, and so you got the guy from Carlins said, well, who's the driver? And I said, I need to know his name, the size, and we're going to have a press conference on Friday at the jury. So there's about, I didn't have any idea who the crew was going to be other than one of my brothers. And so anyway, I said, well, it's Earl Ross. And so the guy raced down. And so the deal went together. We had the thing on Friday. But I called Earl up and I said, how'd you like to drive a car at Daytona in February? And he said, have you got one? I said, yeah. And he said, you got any motors? I said, I got 2 motors. And this was Bobby Allison stuff. We'd been down there and already had ordered the car and the 2 motors. So anyway, he starts asking me a whole bunch of questions. And he's always playing jokes on people, always. I said, well, if you don't want to do it, I'll get somebody else. And I hung up. And I took the phone off the hook for about 10 minutes. And I hung it up, and he came in, and it rang me, and he said, you SOB, he said, don't you even think about giving that to somebody else. Anyway, the deal went together, and we had more fun. We were serious about it. But I think the reason we were successful because we had such a great group of guys that worked. We just outworked everybody. But there's so many things going on behind the scenes. We just laughed constantly. We were always laughing. And anybody that's involved with a sports team or a race team or whatever, all know that the funny stuff is what happens after the races or in your shop or whatever. So there's some stories that can't hold it. But one of the ones that come to mind was Earl had all the cars every time we used rental cars. Then they got treated awful. We were bumping in vain, and then people, and just a whole bunch of things going on. So he went into Atlanta early one day, and he had some kind of an appearance somewhere. So he's driving a rental car, and he went down to underground Atlanta. Now that's one of the 4 blocks that's built underneath the street. And it's all bars and specialty shops and stuff like that. So he went down there and took his. Just took enough money with him to go and have a couple of drinks. He was meeting some Kale, I think, down there. So anyway, we got down, he walked back out, and he can't find his car. It's in a parking lot somewhere. He didn't even know what he was driving. So he walked around, and somebody picked him up and gave him a ride around. He couldn't find it. So anyway, he went back to the motel. He never did find that car. So I know after that, Avis would never rent him another car. But his wallet and his briefcase were in that thing. So they found the car about a month later, and they sent it to him. But we never let him forget that. That's one of the first things that as soon as we start talking, say, Earl, have you lost any cars lately? So we were going in the airport that day, and he said to me, what's a Dodge Dart look like? So he didn't know what the hell was he looking at. Stan, you want to see them?
Well, I'd like to thank everybody that took time out to be here today, and you certainly have to work on the memory a little bit to get everybody's names here, or a few of them. And I'd like to say that it was a pleasure to went down south racing, but before that, Earl had pretty well established himself.
I don't know if you got a copy when you came in, but Greg McPherson from Inside Track Motorsports News donated 100 copies of the latest edition of Inside Track, and in there is my story about the Carling racing team. Just sheer coincidence that it came up. It was printed on Wednesday and this deal was on Saturday. It wasn't planned that way, it just good clean living, right, Tim? Anyway, make sure you pick up a copy. And in there I mentioned that Stan was the jack man, and back in those days, Stan was a pretty big boy. And my running joke with Stan was, you don't need a jack, you can just pick the car up, because that's tough back then. Anyway, I guess John Stenbaug's got something else to say.
I have a brief McKeegan story and I have a brief Earl Ross story. The McKeegan story is one time I was heading back from Port Franks, and there happened to be a Willys drag car on an Erin Road doing burnouts up and down the road, and I think those boys were responsible. I think that was before stock car racing. Anyway, my Earl story was back in the 90s. I got a letter in the mail one day. This has nothing to do with racing, and it was jury duty in London. So you got to make an excuse up. You don't want to waste your time with jury duty. So it was, with me, it was going to be, I'm very prejudiced, death penalty for parking tickets, that kind of stuff. I'll get off. I'm walking in the door, and he comes up and taps me on the shoulder, but Earl. He says, oh, you're stuck with this crap too. I said, yeah. So we sat down. Last seats are the front row. Magistrates up here, and all this people are going to be jurists potentially there. So we're yakking back and forth. The judge says, court's coming to order. Could you please cut out the chat? He pointed specifically at the two of us because we're laughing and having some laughs about everything other than racing. So we continued to chat a bit. The judge says, cut it out now or you're going to be spending a night in jail. And Earl looked at me with a grin on his face. He said, I wonder what they're serving for something.
I'm Ron Walker. I'm involved in the museum. I've been involved for 25 years, and I appreciate what you had to say, but I have to correct a couple of things. We did have Earl Ross stuff in the museum, but you can see that, we couldn't get our hands on much of it. So we did have some Earl Ross stuff in the museum, and we would really be amiss if we didn't recognize Shauna Pickering and Charlene Pickering for helping to put this together, because boy, they put 150% into this. Bill's done a wonderful job, but behind the scenes, Charlene and Shauna really put a lot of work into this, so thank you for all your effort.
There you go. Anyway, I'm not sure what Bill has got planned for later on, but now you can walk around. The displays are amazing. Lots of cool people to talk to, so enjoy.
He's had a lot of autographs that my sister's got years ago. I'm a Jack McCutcheon's daughter. Oh, that's all him. Yeah, you haven't gone around that way yet. Go ahead. Yeah, so, yes. Who was the other Howard against Dad Jimmy? I kind of remember. I was just little.
Now there's a drive coming up behind, like the next curve's gonna be tough. And the heat and the smoke and the noise of the engine, like this race is gonna be rough. You might say that it was taking it cool when Petty was trying to pass. Oh, but don't you wager that he shows speed when he holds down on the gas. Now the race is on and here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second, 'cause 52 just passed.
Professional steel fitter. God, I wouldn't take that thing out.
I'll tell you, I went to Michigan here about 4 years ago and drove one of their stock cars. They strap you in, and they turn around and they say, exhale, you exhale, they refund it. I could hardly believe it. And but when
I got 178 mile an hour laps out of the tank. When you're around and driving and you're just close to the wall, man, I'll tell you, it takes nerve. And I don't know how those guys do 200 laps, because I had a hell of a time doing 20.
Pearson's are going to the inside. Yarborough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second. Does 52 just pass? Now the race is on. Here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarborough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on and it looks like a second. Does 52 just pass?
And it's kind of neat. It's all the way from 1961. And you can hear the engines compared to what they have today. It's a little meek and mild. But anyway, they were coming along. So here we go.
From the fence of Pinecrest Speedway on the 9th of September 1961, where we're having a real exciting night racing. So the pizza lineup goes on the board now. We'll be with you momentarily. Car number 66, Tony Hugh Brown of Whiteman. Car number 66, John Summerall, Port Perry. Car number 3, Miss Blue Brown runs for our region and Motors into the call. Car number 40, Bob Finley of Oshawa. Car number 34, Jerry Watson of Cookville Riding for Evergreen Auto.
These cars were leaving the track. He came in, tore both fenders off the stool. Shit, crew cab. I was there, I'll never forget it. You were probably there too. Peter, the story's over there on the table, no Peter. Anyway, autograph session is starting now, folks. You want to work your way around if you're looking for autographs. We got a whole bunch of famous racers here, including some drag racers. I guess they want me to walk around and introduce the famous drivers. Will Fargo. Right next to him, Scott Wilson. Time Machine, another drag racer. Bill Prince. Oh my God, Bill Prince. He owned Delaware way back in the 70s. Carl Mellish. And then the Patrick team from downtown Delaware, Ontario, Patrick's Lumber Mill. So if you're looking for autographs, they've got them. You gotta help me out here. Jim, are you not signing autographs? Oh, are you? Okay. Don, how are you? A couple of guys here I don't know. I probably knew him 100 years ago. Ross Liddell. Ross Liddell. Oh my goodness. That name goes a long way back. So who do we got here? Pardon me? Carter Nickel. Beside him, some kid I've never heard of before. Started racing when he was 4 years old. Started driving heavy trucks when he was 6 years old. DJ Kennington. The old crew chief of the Carling team, Kenny McKeegan. I won't hand him the mic because it'll take forever. Okay. You got some more signatures somewhere else for years, and it's great. This is just awesome. I thought John Cornell's deal at Nilestown was great. This moves it up a bit. Indoors, amazing. Sitting here today, what are you now, Al? 94? 94? 94 and a half years old. I guess when you get older, you start counting half years again. You did that when you were a kid, Al. Oh, I'm 6.5 years old, soon to be 6 3/4. Al Kirk wrote super modifieds back in the day, and he still smiles on me now. Good to see you, Al. Matt, what do you think of the show?
I'm so happy to deal with leading all of what they were.
His hands are in better shape than mine.
I don't recognize that in the face, and I can't remember. What was that? That was our new last one. There
That's one thing.
At one time.
After.
Huh?
After.
Yeah. I knew he owned that car. Did he buy that car?
Yeah.
Art bought that car. And who drove that car after Art bought it?
I think does it. Then and then Charlie McKinnon drove it.
When Norton drove it, Art was on the owner.
No.
Never.
No, John was the car. And at the end there.
What do you want to get? What do you want to have ready for?
First of all, tell me who you are. And
Bill Prince.
Bill Prince. Okay, Bill, you're going to tell us some stories about driving with Earl?
Well, number one is he always beat me.
Yeah.
And number two, he was a really good guy, and he gave lots of information to the other drivers. And we bought one of his Carling cars, and he took me for a little ride at Delaware on the spare seat that wasn't there.
Okay.
And I don't think I ever gone into number one turn so fast in my life.
All right.
And I drove super modified, but he was moving. So, yeah, and Earl came along with some of the other older drivers when we were running the Speedway and tried to get some information on what the fans would like because they paid the bill.
Yeah.
And no, just all in all, Earl did really well in NASCAR. He was a good promoter for the racetracks, and yeah, just a great guy.
And how old were you when you started racing?
19.
19? So how long did you know Earl? From when he was young too?
Well, I was running in the super modifieds, and Earl was running, I think, originally in the compacts, and then he went to late model, and then he got into NASCAR.
Oh, very good.
Which was great for him. Jack Reedy helped him along the way a little bit, and Carling's sure kicked in to help out. And speaking with some of the older NASCAR drivers in Florida, that they all had good things to say about him too. So.
It must have been a different way getting into racing back then than nowadays, eh? Probably a lot different.
You could get into super modified in 1963 for about $5,000. You're not going to be a top runner, but now you're looking at 50,000 plus.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, thanks so much. All right,
you're welcome.
You take care. Okay, start from the beginning of that again. We missed that part.
Well, when I was 19 years old, a fellow owed me a bit of money, so he gave me a old super modified race car that wasn't much. And the next year my brother bought one from Vic Robley, and we ran that for 3 years, and then my brother built another car, and we ran that for 4 years, and with some success, and we went over to Oswego for a couple of races and did fairly well there. Then I got out of the super modified and into a late model for a couple of years. And my buddy and I were looking for something to do, and we bought the lease from Jack Reedy on the Delaware Speedway.
Okay. What year was that? Did you bought?
76.
76. Bought Delaware. Okay.
And after about 2 years there, my trucking business was going downhill a bit, so I left there and went full-time on the trucking and brought that back.
Okay.
And that was the end of my racing. I still ran tours to Daytona 500 and Michigan 400, and still stayed involved in racing, and I still love it today.
That's awesome. All right, thanks.
You're a car owner of a street stock for a couple of years?
Well, yes, I had a street stock for my son for a couple of years.
So you raced some street stock for a bit?
Yep, from 2000 to 2000. Sorry, from 90 to 96, I ran street stock.
Okay. Out of Delaware?
Yep, Delaware.
Right on.
Dad owned it, and I drove it.
Very cool. All right, that's awesome, guys. Thanks so much. All right.
Coming up behind like the next curve's gonna be tough. And the heat and the smoke and the noise of the engine like this race is gonna be rough. on, and here comes Earl at the backstretch. Pearson's going to the inside. Yarbrough's slipping out, trying hard to pass. Baker's out of the running. Allison's stepping on the gas. The race is on, and it looks like a second, 'cause 52 just passed.